There was a question on the forum about denting a panel or whatever the case was so that it would leave an impression in the door if somebody were to come up and say hit something and you wanted a reaction from the material. The easiest way to do that is with soft cloth. You'd say, well, how are you going to do it with soft cloth? Well, first of all, I made a ball in the scene here, and it's set for a dummy. This dummy is basically a sphere. You just bring it in, you go edit, create, standard, and create a sphere. Size it generally smaller than what you want the hit to be, because it's going to actually spread the polys out. But if you look over here, the item is PhysX capable, and this one is rigid body. It's kinematic because everything reacts to a kinematic prop. What this kinematic prop is going to do in this case, it's going to actually hit this door and create a dent in it. The door itself, keep your eye over here at PhysX, is a soft cloth. So if I edit weight map, right now I've got the soft cloth turned off because I've already recorded it. So I took the soft cloth off here and actually turned it off to none once I recorded what I wanted it to do, and you're going to see that shortly. All I did was make sure that it was active as a soft cloth, and then I had this kinematic ball come in and slam into the door. Once I got it to push the metal in the soft cloth door, then I just hit pause, turn this flag off, make it none, and anything that was recorded as a hit would show up and remain there. So all I've got to do is open the timeline, and I see there's a soft cloth recording here. This is animation I've got on the door. I went and made this in Max to create this specifically. So this door has a perform command on it that was put on it inside of iClone, and all I've got to do is right click on it and choose perform open and close. It's open and reverse. All you got to do is run this twice. You open it, and the second command you just hit right click and reverse it, and then it closes the door. So it's a single command that does two things. This was not available in iClone 5, now it is. But back to the dent. This dent is a recording, and I'm going to take this door and I'm going to put it in wireframe mode so you can see it actually push the polygons in. It's already been recorded, but I'm going to show you the steps you do to do that. So I hit stop, and if I press play with real time on, it's already recorded, you'll see the dent more readily. It closes, boom, and it pushes it in. Now let me go ahead and press Control D for this ball and make sure that it's set as a dummy. Press Control D, let it hide. I'm not going to select it anymore, that way you won't see when it actually hits. So I come back here. This is what we're actually working or looking at here. The ball is going to come in and smack the door. Now you'll see when it actually happens in real time. The door opens, closes, and it dents the door, and it holds that regardless, and it'll continue to pound it at that same point right there on the timeline. If I want to move that dent to where it hits somewhere else, all I've got to do is take this and slide it down the timeline, and I can have it hit down here. It doesn't matter when that ball actually hit it, because it's not having any effect anymore as I've turned off the PhysX for the door. So I'm going to turn this back to normal so you can actually see what the dent does to the door. It actually misshapens it around here too, because it is soft cloth, even though I've pinned this cloth to hold it in place. So press play, and there's the dent. Now if you come down here and look at the door itself at different angles, you'll see it actually pushes the cloth out on the side. The cloth actually reacts like a normal door would. If you hit it, it's going to bend at other points. So the cloth is a good reason to keep it. It's real time. It opens, it closes, and then boom, somebody hits it. But you've got to wait until it appears on the timeline. It just hit it, open up the timeline, and it's done. And that's when it hit it. I can move it anywhere, like I said, down the timeline, and that impact will take place. So if I move it here, and I'm going to bring this up just a little bit, you can actually see the dent when it crosses that soft cloth. Press play now, and the hit takes place. And it's going to have a reaction time. Of course, it's not going to happen right away. It's going to happen right at the end of it. But it is a recording. And what I did was you can take this and make it a slow hit like this just by stretching it out. But I'm just going to take this and show you what it does. Boom. And it's a little slower because I stretched it out. I can bring it back here and stretch it out even further. But you can only take it so far, and then you're going to be out of any animation. So it's going to come back here, and I'm going to stretch it. It's going to slow, impact, boom. Okay. If you want to stretch it out, you go like this. You right click, and you break it. That gives you more stretch, because now you can stretch this further than it was, and you can stretch this even further, which will, in addition to that, slow it down even more. I'm going to take this down here, and I'm going to start here to let it play through, and you'll see that the impact has changed. Starts here, move this out of the way. Let's see how long it takes before it actually collapses that door, because I'm dragging this out. This is a deformation of soft cloth. So I'm going to take it here. It's not impacted yet, and we're just going to play, and this is in real time, and we'll see how long it takes for that dent to actually push in. It's not a whole lot of animation to it, but there it goes, and it's finished right here. It still took longer to hit than the original, so you can hit Control Z and undo. I've only got 5, so I'm done. I can't back up anymore. The point is, you can use this to stretch it out. You can move it to a different place and time it so that it hits when whatever the object is. Maybe a basketball hit it. Maybe somebody got mad and hit it with their fist. But the impact is recorded here, and it won't re-record unless you turn this flag back on here to soft cloth, and make sure it's your soft cloth and rigid are on up here. So I'm going to switch it back as soon as I show you how I initially set it up. Now I'm going to take this door I've got it on loop. I'm going to hit stop. I'm going to take this door and I'm going to right click and remove all animation, which means I'm probably going to remove any animation for soft cloth. So it's all gone. There's nothing left. All the animation is gone, including the opening and closing. I can press it all day long, and I'm just not going to get any reaction out of it until I make this active, soft cloth. This is still going to do what it did, which is, if I scrub the timeline, you'll see it just comes in and pushes on the door. Just doing like this is not going to do anything because it's not actually recording. But it comes in and it smacks the door, and you get it at least at the point of impact, at least halfway in, so that you get the collision margin from the ball into the door. So here we are. It's let's see if I go in here to PhysX. Look, there's a collision margin on here of 13.8. It can be more. I can have it hit a little bit harder. I can make the ball bigger to make the dent do more damage to that door. The point is, it's PhysX rigid hits PhysX soft, kinematic to PhysX soft, and the cloth itself is the door. But the door still retains all of its perform commands as if it were a standard prop. But I've got it called Dent Me Panel, and the material on it is this gray. Whatever material you use is up to you, but there's a gray material on it, and regardless of where it's at, you can have it hit and create a dent. To get the weight cloth on it, of course, you have to do like this. You have to go to PhysX and edit weight map. Now I'm on the door and panel. Make sure you're on the right material. This is the dent me panel, but you can also put a weight map on this vent so that it would also be affected if it were hit, to bend it. But I just did the panel itself. So go back to the dent me panel, go into PhysX, choose your weight map, and this is the weight map that I had for it. And all it is if you launch this, it's a black square that holds the door in place, and it's based on a UV map. I know that when I created the door, I gave it an edge all the way around so that I could hold that door up. This is all soft cloth in here, and the gray that gets hit, and it can be hit at any point within there. These black edges will not be affected because they are pinning it in place, so they can still operate as a prop, only soft cloth. And you could do this with a car body. You can do it with a wall that you want somebody to hit or indent, a guardrail, anything, a refrigerator door, whatever the case is. This is just one example. But you have to put a weight map on it to hold it in place because it is soft cloth. Without it, it will just fall to the floor. The ball itself is kinematic. It's just going to move and hit that cloth. Now I've got it set back to soft cloth. You record in by frame. Hit stop. It's by frame. When you press play, that ball is going to do what it does naturally. So I'm going to come in here to this ball right here, and I'm going to choose it, and I'm going to take the dummy option off. That way you'll see it when it hits in by frame mode and creates the dent. And once it creates it, you hit your space bar or pause to stop it and hold that recording. So back again, bake animation for soft cloth. We're under PhysX engine. Close it. The door is soft cloth. Up here, it is soft cloth. Okay. Just make sure it's separate soft cloth. And then the object that's going to strike it. Now this can be a ball that's attached as a kinematic device onto the fist of a character, or it can be a basketball that's set as a kinematic prop that comes along and smacks a locker because somebody overshot or got mad inside of a locker room, for instance. But we're back to the door or the ball. It's dummy. It's rigid body. It's going to smack this door. And here we go. And this is all real time. I'm not cutting this scene at all. These are all real time recordings. So I press play and I wait. And I've got this ball sitting in a hold pattern until it goes in, and then I'm going to have it impact the door. And when it's impacted it and I'm sure it's through, I just hit pause. Boom. You see the door change here. Now, to increase the size of the dent or to make it worse, you drive that ball on through, and all you got to do on that is make sure you've got it chosen over here. Dent the door ball is what I called it. Open the timeline, and you've got transforms on here. This is the ball where it starts. This is where I hold it, and then the impact hits here. Now you can, at the same time, you can also take this ball and do an R and increase the size of it when it hits that door, and you're going to get more damage out of it. And you can have it impact at any point. And then I'm going to hit W on it and move it in just a little bit more because it's a bigger impact. So now I've changed this. I've changed its size. It's small here, and then it goes large. You see? Here's your final impact. So I'm going to close it. Well, actually, I can leave that on there. You can watch it record, but I want you to see it record on the door, not the ball. But if you want to see both, do that. and make sure it's object related track. And I bring it down, and here's your soft cloth, and there is no animation recorded on it right now, so I don't need the collect, I don't need transform. Well, actually I do need transform. I don't need project, and I don't need switcher. It'll make it easier to see everything being recorded here. I bring this timeline up, and we'll bring it back to stop. And now we're just going to record it by frame until that impact is made by this ball at this point. This is where it's going to hit, right here. So press play or spacebar, and we'll just wait. Right now it's still in its hold pattern between here and here. When it gets to this point, that's when it hits the door. Boom. Okay. Now once that's done, all you got to do is take that ball itself here, go inside as a dummy, you don't need to see it, and then off click this. This was the door that was dented. Don't go anywhere, leave it right where it's at. Turn this flag off. Done. Now that dent will always stay there, it will always come back. Again, based on where this soft cloth is positioned at. Now we know it hit here, but we can make it hit a little later, down here. The whole time it's recording its position. So it's gonna impact, I'm gonna put it back in real time, open up the timeline, and we'll start it back here, and it's gonna do whatever it does. But it's recorded, and it's a hit into the door. You see it spread here. You see the dent go in, and it holds, and it will continue to do that. You can take this, copy it, paste it, and it goes back open. Kind of like a vibration thing, I guess you could say. And we'll paste it again, so we get 3 hits. It's all going to be the same exact hit, but I don't know if this can be reversed or not. We're going to try and reverse it here so it pops back out, and then it pops back in. And let's see what it does. This is a test on my behalf. I have not tested this before, so dent's going to hit in. It's going to reverse and hit again. And there it goes. And that's the final hit. It holds it in place. So it can work. It's not very practical, but I guess there's a use for it somewhere. Perhaps maybe a drum skin bouncing up and down. If you want to have it go up and down like as it's hit. But there you go. That's how you do it. Make sure that whatever you're using works. I'm going to take and keep the last one on here. In the interim, in real time, I'm going to take this door, which I created a perform command on, and open it. And it still works just like a regular prop would. The only difference is it's going to dent where it should. This looks like it's open. It's a light inside the locker. It's a light bounce. The locker is not actually open. It's got a different look from it. I'm going to spin around it so you can see. There is no opening here in the back. I'm back behind the wall now. But there is no openings here. So come back. Now we're not quite to the point where it gets the impact. You could leave that door right there and have it dent right here if you wanted to, just by not repeating this command. But I wanted to show you can take this command and you repeat it, right? You can copy it here, paste it, or you can come back to the door in the scene, right click, give it the same perform command. This was not available in Icon 5. Give it the same command, and instead of opening, you right click on it, reverse it, and it becomes a open and close command. So it goes back to its open position, and then it's going to close like that. And then it's going to either get its dent from here, or you can wait, or not, just leave it open. We'll look at it open, and we'll see if the cloth actually hits with it open, and it should. You should see the dent come in towards the inside of the door because it's been recorded, and there it goes. It's not much, but you can see the impact. If I had a different material on here, you could probably see a little bit more of it, but there is a dent right there inside the door. It's a hit in. You see the impact outside, and material, of course, will make a difference in the way you see more of it, plus lighting and shadows. But it's not there, and then press spacebar, boom, there's your hit. And the door will still close if I copy this, come here, paste, put this down as a command, and then reverse it, because I want it to close, not open. That's why I called it an open and reverse command. So it's one. Reverse was not available on props in the previous version. Well, it was available for motions, but not animations. So there we go. And now the dent is in there. If I press play, it's going to close, and the dent's going to stay in it. In other words, the door could have been open halfway and got hit. Something like maybe a bicycle goes past a car door and leaves a dent as it passes by. It's up to you to time those issues out, but that's the easiest way to look at it. And like I said, it does create an impact around the door, and you can make more of a collision margin here where this cloth is affected more, because you can change the collision margin on the door and the kinematic ball that strikes on it. So it's entirely up to you what you do with it. And that's it. If you want to leave a dent or an impression on something, then use soft cloth. It will record it. Once recorded, press your space bar and make sure you set this soft cloth back to none. And that cloth will continue to keep the recording that was recorded while this was on and this was on. Doesn't matter if these stay on, as long as you've got it off over here. And that's it. Cricky out.